Oh, I did that on set before, where you're mic'd up and then you're in the bathroom.
Oh my God. Oh, shoot.
And here we are talking about being mic'd up and being public.
Yeah.
What happened?
Hey, so we're on now. Hi, how's
Yeah,
everybody
we're,
doing?
we're
Thank you for joining us if we've got anybody out there. Today we're going to be talking about how to get through the holidays safe and sane. I'm Michele Altamirano. I'm a C65, 6'7" quadriplegic. I've been a wheelchair user for 35 years, and I'm glad to be here today. All right.
Hi, I'm Ellen Stohl. I am a C5678T1 incomplete quadriplegic. I am in my 41st year of
Yeah.
being paralyzed, so been doing this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm Mickie Fowler. I was injured in 1984, just after Ellen. I'm a T10 paraplegic, and I'm laying on my bed on my side. Doctor's orders to heal a severe pressure wound. Nobody wants to be in this position, so be very, very diligent about doing your pressure release and all that. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. So one of the
Yeah,
topics that we
absolutely.
definitely want to
Go ahead,
talk
Michelle.
about, sorry, is
Go ahead.
physical and mental health and how they affect each other. You know, you kind of can't have one without the other, unfortunately. And, the holidays, we've got a lot of obligations, we're busy, we get stressed, or maybe you don't have a lot of people around. You're, on your own, just kind of watching the world go by and all of that. And you tend to isolate yourself, which isn't great. So we're going to talk a lot about that today and give you some tips on how to get through it, how to manage the stress and the anxiety and being ill for a long time or a short time. All right, go for it. Okay. Oh, Ellen, you want to chime in there? Ellen?
I just want, yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
And just saying that I had a pressure sore when I was first injured. That was pretty bad, Mickey. They ended up taking a 1/4 inch of my tailbone off. So they had to
Oh,
cut my
wow.
tailbone
wow.
off, and then the recovery was so. So they cut a 1/4 inch of the tailbone off, and then because that's where it was, and then the only other major pressure sore I got was from when I was pregnant, and then I lost a
Mm.
lot of weight and I shifted my weight. So my little monkey that was inside my belly was putting extra weight on my tailbone, and I had to get that fixed. And then the other thing, I got a spider bite that got infected. So the problem with
Wow.
infections and the why you have to be so careful is not just the breakdown of the skin, but then also the infection can become like MRSA. I mean, we become antibiotic resistant, which I think is one of
Yeah,
the scariest things for spinal cord injury for anybody with a disability, but particularly for quadriplegics. We're
absolutely.
so prone to urinary tract infections and skin breakdown, and then we have to be mindful of the antibiotics we take, or else we become
Yeah. And the
resistant.
scary thing is that it advances so fast. You could be watching it, checking your skin every day, and it's like, oh, it's just a little spot. Oh, it's just a little spot. And then 2 days you've got a hole,
That's what happened to
because
me. I had to have
it,
surgery.
yeah, the pressure, say from your tailbone or whatever, is pushing
Hmm.
against all your tissue and skin. And by the time you see that red spot, that means that it's gone through all that tissue. And you see
Hmm.
that red spot, you need to act immediately. Same with UTIs. How many people don't end up septic because it's like, oh, I can flush it out. I'll just drink a lot of water and cranberry pills or whatever it is that you do, teas. And yeah, before you know it, you've got a high fever, you got the chills, you got to go into the ER, and and it's out of control. So that's why we have to be extra
Yeah.
vigilant with those kinds of things. Mickie, how are
Well,
you
I
doing?
guess 40 years later. Pardon me?
How are you doing?
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Michelle?
How are you
Other than
doing?
just laying here on my side here.
Yes,
Can you hear me now?
absolutely.
Yep.
Oh,
Yes.
good. Yeah, I mean, I feel great. That's the problem. I feel like I could be out actually holiday shopping, but
Mm-hmm.
because I can't be out of on my chair, sitting for any length of time. They said that's the only way it's going to heal. is
Oh,
not sitting on it, not putting pressure on it. Even with a wound vac, it's just going to take a
Yeah.
long time. So I don't even know if I'll be up and about during the holidays. I'm hoping, but
Hmm.
just such a slow process, how that tissue
so it's
has to heal from the inside out. And
Yes.
it's just such a slow process. But otherwise, I'm great. Like I said, I've
How
got
long
plenty
have
to.
you been how long have you been dealing with this pressure sore?
Well, um, I've had a nurse come like once a week,
Hmm.
and in July, she noticed it was infected right around my birthday.
oh, yeah.
So I found out that week, like about July 19th, it was infected. So I went to the urgent care and they opened it. And, from then on, I had it packed. And then finally, a wound care specialist said, you need to go to the ER. Went to ER, and that's when they did surgery, put a wound back
Hmm.
on me. Then I went to a skilled nursing facility about 5 weeks, and I kind of backtracked there because I had a nurse practitioner come once a week, and he goes, "Oh, you don't need the wound vac anymore. We can just put what's it called, calcium alginate on, and Centil or it's some kind of ointment." And then I found out, and then he said, "Oh, and you can sit in your chair for 2 hours a day." So I'm like, "Yay!" So I'm going to PT, just enjoying life, and
Doing your stuff,
I'm
yeah.
probably the youngest one in there. So I find out, yeah, I find out later after I'm discharged. No, you should never been sitting in a chair, and you should have stayed on the wound vac. So I'm just a little, upset about
Hmm.
that. But I'm back on the wound vac, and I have a wound care nurse that comes in and takes care of my dressing.
Hmm.
I love the wound
So
care
thanks
nurses.
for asking.
They're
Otherwise,
Mm. Yeah.
yeah, they know what they're doing.
they
But I've
do.
never seen a wound care doctor. I don't even know if they exist.
Mm.
Oh, they do. They do. They're a wound specialist. They're generally plastic surgeons. So
Yeah.
I was at
Oh, plastic
Sherman
surgeons.
Oaks Wound Care. They were amazing. I
Oh,
mean, Doctor.
Great.
Oh God, I wish I could
I,
think of his name. So handsome,
I wish
Doctor.
it wish.
That always
He was
makes you
so
feel better,
handsome.
right?
Like he's cutting cutting the skin around my butt. You're like, yeah, he's handsome, yeah. Um,
I heard that's a good place, but it's so far away from me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sherman Oaks Wound Care was they've done a couple of wounds that I've had, and they were pretty amazing. I didn't end up having to have the wound back, but they would come in and cut it and clean it and do the
Like to
peanut
breed it.
butter. I call it the
Yeah.
peanut butter ointment that they put on that looks
Stuff.
like peanut butter and it's sandy, and then they give you
Yeah.
the good equipment, the good wound care stuff to put on it, and then the nurse comes in and does it. So it is one of those things we have to watch because Michelle, you made a great point. It happened so
Hmm.
fast. When I was pregnant,
Hmm.
I had the spot, but I heal really quickly, so I healed right
Yeah.
over it. And I didn't know, but I had a fever of 100 and something, and
Oh
then
wow.
I went actually to a physiatrist who checked it, and he said, "Yeah, there's no spot here." And then he said, "I think it's a UTI. You should probably go see your OBGYN or something." And so I got in with my OBGYN that day, but I was so
Hmm.
sick, and by the time I got there, it had burst open. I thought I was miscarrying. It was the most
Oh
like
wow. Well,
devastating. Like, and they're like, "No, it's your butt." I'm like, "Okay, thank God it's my
no
butt and not
kidding,
my
Mark.
baby."
Yeah.
But it was horrible. I mean, it's so we live in constant threat of, our
Absolutely.
we have to be so aware of our bodies, but our
Hmm.
bodies take so much more abuse than other people. Leon says hello. Hi, Leon. So glad you're out there.
Hi.
And then also, Juliana is she's probably won't be able to join us. She's trying to, but she just finding out if her she's up in the Camarillo area where the fires are. She was evacuated, and she's just learning if her house is still there. The block above her is gone. So we're all sending positive energies that her home is okay, and I know she would love to be here with us, but that is where she's had. Leon
Hmm.
says that he's had problem with pressure sores on both cheeks about 25 years ago, and they
Hmm.
heal that he hasn't had, but you still have problems with them. Yeah, I mean, once they heal, it's not like a broken bone that mends stronger.
Yeah.
It's now that skin is not as strong, and you have to be so
Hmm.
mindful of it.
Absolutely.
And you have to check all the time, and then you've got to. I mean, how do you check your own ass? You have to have somebody else.
Hmm.
excuse my
Pretty
language,
much.
but
Yeah.
somebody else has to be looking at those cheeks. And then
There you
it's
go.
right in an area. So I have a huge moon-shaped scar across my butt because when they took the quarter inch of the tailbone off, they had to take fat from one of the butt cheeks and stick it under. It
In
was
the
quite
other.
I almost
Yeah.
died from that surgery. That
Wow.
was right after I was injured. And yeah, that was that was actually almost worse than breaking my neck because I didn't almost die from breaking my neck, but from my
That.
decubitus. I had to have blood platelets and the whole 9 yards because it
Okay.
was so bad.
How did
Where were
you
you living at the
feel?
time? Who
I
you
was
were
in the
living with at
hospital
the
at the
time?
time. So I got that bed sore. They think that in my accident I must have bruised my tailbone, which was the
Oh,
precursor to getting, but I was in the hospital when I had that.
okay.
And then there was
Wow.
arguments between the neurosurgeons about working on the neck or working on the butt. And they were like,
Right.
we gotta get the neck. And but it
Yeah.
was one of the it was pretty bad. And I was lucky it was in
Hmm.
the hospital, but it was also that time of first injury when you think your life is over. So when they
Yeah.
Mhm.
wanted to give me the platelets, I said no. Why is my do not disturb on and people keep calling? I said no because I was like, I just want to die. I mean, it was that. I mean, that's
Right.
that idea
At that
of
point.
you brought it up, Michelle, that mental health of
Hmm.
um, you know, acquiring an injury, you think, yeah, the scar tissue is not strong. So I
Yeah.
always have to watch that spot. But luckily, they put extra cushion on my tush
Hmm.
where that spot was. But that mental health, I really, didn't care at that time because I had newly injured.
Yeah.
I'd only been injured 6 months and I went, or 4 months, and I was still in the hospital. And I wanted, like, I didn't want to heal. I wanted to die. And I think that impacted the healing. And thank God my
Healing
mom
process.
was like, oh, you're getting that, you're having that blood transfusion. I don't care if it leaks
Absolutely.
or not, young lady.
Yeah.
And I did, and thank God, because I have an
Hmm.
amazing
Yeah.
daughter and life. But that mental health, like when we don't pay attention, we have to ask ourselves, why are we not paying attention to our bodies?
Hmm.
Because we get busy.
You're busy,
Okay.
absolutely. You
Yeah.
get too busy,
Or
and it's so much work, isn't it? Don't you think that's like extra work? We have to watch
absolutely.
our bodies.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We have to have a
And
different.
the
We
thing
have to have
is
a
you
different
can't
mindset.
yeah, and
Yeah, you have to.
you really can't skip a day. Sorry.
No,
You
And
know,
and
you gotta
Leon
watch.
Leon says it's disturbing how many people have looked at and rubbed his butt. Yes,
Oh,
it is.
great. Yeah.
You have to be like, I agree. I'll be like this. I need someone to just look at my butt. My friends, can
Mm,
you just look? I think I might have bruised. Like, and, they're
something.
all
Yeah.
looking. My daughter, I'm gonna roll over. My butt feels a little this. I can.
Yeah.
They teach you the mirror trick, and I'm sure that Julianne is excellent at it because she can cast without looking. She can probably do the mirror thing and see her butt. I
Thing and
cannot.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
can never get the
Well,
No,
I
mirror.
can't.
you can't
I
get the
can't.
right the
Yeah,
right
I
angle.
can
You
too.
can't.
So I have no excuse. I just get busy
Yeah.
and don't think about it because like I said, it's all mindset. You're still the
Yeah.
same person as far as
Yeah.
what you do every day, what you think every day, and then all of a sudden, when you're paralyzed, you have to start thinking a different way. Like,
Okay.
I've got to
So
concentrate on my body now.
Well,
you've
you
been
do because
dealing with
everything we
this.
do is different.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you've been dealing with this since July, Mickie, and you
Yes,
talk about
yes.
having to have a positive attitude. How do you sustain that through a long period of time? How do you cope with your mental health and all the different emotions that you're going through?
Well, I thought this was going to be about the holidays, so I didn't
Yeah,
want to bring anybody down. But there might
No,
be
no.
people in the same situation. No, I've got
absolutely.
I've I've got friends that visit. I'm always on the phone texting, or I've got lots of different stimulus out there.
Mhm.
TV, videos to watch, um, podcasts to listen to, YouTube videos, you name it. Not like the
Yeah,
old days where if you were stuck in bed, you didn't have too many resources. Now there's almost too many resources.
yeah. I'm going to go over
So yeah, things are fine. Things are fine.
brief little list that I found, just how illness can affect your mental health and how your mental health affects your illness. It just kind of which came first. And, of course, dealing with a long term illness plus being disabled already, it just adds to the stress that you're dealing with on your day to day, activities, issues and all of that. And of course, it
Hmm.
affects your self esteem because you're laying there and you're like feeling like you're useless. Like, what am I? I'm just laying
Mhm.
here, you know? And then on top of that, a lot of people tend to isolate themselves. I know when I don't feel good, I don't want to talk to anybody. Just leave me alone for a minute, let me kind of get my shit together. And then, I know when I start to, okay, I'm coming out of this little funk, I'm starting to text people or call somebody or whatever, or feel like going out. And then, of course, depression and anxiety from the stress, from the pain, from the
Mhm.
illness, from
Mhm.
everything you got to go through. And then some medications that they give you, they're giving you pain pills and all of that. And then on top of that, a lot of those medications affect your GI and how all that works. So that's
Oh,
another problem to deal with, on top of the illness. So great, I can't move and now I'm shitting nonstop and hello, that's how it is. Yeah. And it
oh, it
just,
is. It's
yeah. And it affects your sleep patterns because you're sleeping whenever you can sleep, and
yeah.
you don't have a good sleep pattern and your circadian rhythm is off, and which adds to the stress and the anxiety and all of that. So um, when you were dealing with those issues, Ellen, how did you help maintain your good mental health?
Was raised to, my mom was a single mom with 6 kids under the age of 10. So being sick
Wow.
was not an option. Like,
All right. Yeah.
I don't have time for you to be sick. So
Yeah.
be better, which was not the best way to be raised. I mean, in some ways, I pushed through it. I have a really hard time being sick. So if I have to be in bed, it's
Yeah.
got to be bad.
Yeah.
I literally, when I was pregnant and had 104 temperature, I was shopping at Lowe's for something before I saw the doctor because,
Oh, great.
like, you're not supposed to go to bed until 5 o'clock unless you're so sick, which is not healthy because you
Yeah.
really have to
No.
honor and listen to your body. I think that that's one of the things
Absolutely.
I've
Yeah.
learned is now, like, and my mental health, I am like you, Michelle. I don't want people to visit me in the hospital. I don't want people to visit me at home. I don't want to talk to anybody. I want to curl up into
Mm-hmm.
my cocoon and heal myself until I can get through it. But my
Yeah.
friends will come anyway. They'll be like,
Yeah.
"We're coming," and I have learned to accept support.
Yeah.
And so when I'm tired and sick now, I try to take the precursor. And I read, and this is probably from, like Vogue or Teen or We or
So,
some
yeah.
magazine like that. Like, lean into it. When you start to feel sick, lean into it. Like, say, okay, I'm sick. I'm going to really take care of myself. I'm going to drink the orange juice. I'm going to get the
Yeah.
Demanos before it gets you completely, and
Absolutely.
allow people to help you. And I think that that's the most important thing. And with pressure sores,
Mm-hmm.
finding like Mickie, I think you got the best thing. Like, what can I do in this position? Right? I can watch, I can talk to friends, I can listen to
Yes.
podcasts, I can learn how to do this.
Yeah.
What can
Oh,
I
Yes.
do to feel like I'm still engaged? I think that that's really important.
yeah.
Mhm.
But I'm not always the best at dealing with sickness, but I also know that I will get through it. Like, I was,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to get me.
Yeah.
I will move through this, and knock on wood. That's I hate hospitals. So
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Last resort.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolute last resort for me. So, like, if I can take care of it at home by being proactive, eating healthy, I think listening to the body and honoring
Mm-hmm.
it, and then, allowing yourself to feel the emotions with it, to be depressed. It's okay.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't know where American society got this idea that we're supposed to be happy and up all the time. You got to
All
be
the time.
happy all
Yeah.
the time, all the time. It's like, no, you can be sad. If shit happens
Yeah.
that makes you sad, be sad. Lean into it. Be depressed.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
if it doesn't go away after a week or so, then get the support you need to get through it. But it's okay to
Absolutely.
be sad and down for a while. It's okay
Mm-hmm.
to cry.
Absolutely.
It's okay to not want to be around people. We have
Yeah.
this idea that, this Pollyanna toxic optimism
Yeah.
of, it's like, no, shitty things happen.
Yeah.
Be
Especially,
upset.
I think, in the beginning of being injured, when you're having to deal with long-term issues, you're like, not that you have to prove to anybody that you're still, strong and fight and, can pull through. And we tend to do that, push through things. And, I was that way too, I could work through things, get through things, or illnesses, a few days and I'm good to go. And here we go. Well, 20 years later, that's not working for me anymore.
No.
I can beat this and I can, whatever. I ended up for the better part of a year and a half in bed because
Oh,
I broke my leg below my knee 3 separate times. And aside of, oh my God, what is the universe trying to tell me? What am I not getting, that this keeps happening to me and stuff. And it was, due to falls. The first time was a stress fracture and all of that. And, they were just hairline fractures. Thank God I didn't need surgery or anything like that. But still, I had to have my leg elevated in a soft, what do they call a soft cast kind of a thing, and not twist it. So what can I do? How the heck do I get out of bed and not twist, not twist it, and trying to get in my chair and then keep it elevated. So that was a very dark time. The first one, it was like, okay, the first time, and it healed pretty quick. And I'm okay, 3 months, I'm good to go, blah, blah, blah. When it happened the second time, I was devastated and, broke a different little part of my leg. So there goes another 3-ish months. And when it happened the third time, I swear, I completely lost it. It's like, what the F is happening here, And that time I didn't think I had heard it, but I did. I heard it again. So I'm back to zero, with the healing, with a back to bed and all of that. And at that point, it was like I felt like I had nothing to fight with.
oh,
And, when you start feeling that way and you're mentally down and you're in a dark spot, and I honestly felt broken. I just felt like I can't do this anymore. I have nothing left to fight. And so that was, woo, that took me right to therapy afterwards. And I worked with someone. And the thing is, there was a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, pain. I mean, everything, that goes through your mind when you're dealing with something like that you can't just fix right away and you heal from right away. And, in talking to that person, I kind of figured out, what was happening and all of that. And like I said, I thought I was broken. But after all of that, I learned that I wasn't broken. I was depleted. I was depleted of fight, of energy, of everything, all the strengths that I had had before. So, we worked to build that, because sometimes we feel like we're falling apart and we just can't continue anymore. But,
well, yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, I always say like disability, it magnifies everything, right? Like, so illness is
mhm,
magnified by five. And like Leon says, most people can be in bed 3 months and not lose the muscle mass if we
absolutely.
lose any amount of our muscles or strength,
Mhm,
it impacts our life 5 times more than an able-bodied person that loses
absolutely.
some of their mobility for 3 months. It
Hmm.
really plays into that. And I think that's the hardest thing. It's just like it's not just one step forward, 2 steps back. It's one step forward, 5 steps back. And
Absolutely.
it can be exhausting and
Yeah.
maintaining it. I think for me, the most valuable thing that I've done in the last, I think I've been there for almost 35 years, almost since my
Hmm.
injury, at the Brown Center at CSUN, their adaptive PE program, where I do all my
Yeah.
stretching and then some weight training. But being the stretching and being proactive. Now, I broke my leg in 2011 in 3 places. I had hit a curb and came out of my chair, and I broke my fib tib in 3 places.
Yeah.
Didn't realize because I had, yes, been drinking. We were looking at Christmas lights. Didn't realize till the next morning when I
Yeah.
went up to go to the bathroom and I went to like transfer and pick up my leg that my foot stayed on the ground, but my knee came
Yeah.
up. Like, oh, something's
Oh
wrong here.
no.
Yeah.
And yeah, with that, I ended up in the emergency room. That they did end up having to do surgery, and I have a metal rod and probably 250 screws from my knee to my ankle because I broke it in 3 places. But it made me, going through that was incredibly hard. I was lucky that they had, I don't know what brace they put on me and gave me a chair with a foot thing out. And so
Yeah.
I was able to actually be somewhat mobile. Um, and my house was already accessible. So I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
okay. But even
with
then,
help I
when
can
it's
do things, but it
extended,
was the healing takes so long, and then now you have to worry even more. I think right now the hardest thing is hands. Like I don't know if it's carpal tunnel, but my hands are going numb, and I'm having
yeah,
grip issues, and I don't want them to do anything because if I lose my hands right now,
absolutely.
like it's like every part of our body that works is so essential to us getting
Yeah,
through our day that we can't afford one to give out, whether it's, our skin, our hands, our legs, and that's exhausting. Yeah, Leanne's saying it. I mean, and you get in that bed and you feel like, am I ever going to be able to get out again? Like Leanne's saying, they went through that time of thinking,
yeah,
man, I and if I can't, what is that going to look like in my life? And
exactly.
I my friend, I don't know if y'all know Nancy Becker Kennedy or knew Nancy Becker
Yeah,
Kennedy. She's
Nancy.
an actress and everything. She passed in June.
Oh, you did. Oh, I
Yeah,
did
she
not know
passed
that.
in
Wow.
June 11th this year.
Sorry.
But she'd had again infections like sepsis over sepsis over sepsis over sepsis. But she
Gosh.
also and was stuck in bed for probably the better part of the year as well. She made that like you, Mickie. She was able to find shows that she liked and do singing and really, missed being able to get up. That is the frustrating thing, but being able
Absolutely.
to intellectually engage and
Do something. Yes.
our minds, I think, are our souls. So when we're able to still exercise our mind, even when our bodies have decided to betray us, that's what I always like to call it,
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
body betrayal. Um, if our minds are working, and she really, for those months that she was there, really engaged with people
Yeah.
and still was advocating. My God, what an advocate! Advocating
Uh,
for IHSS rights and higher wages,
all of
and
that. Yeah.
so I
And
I
think
remember,
also,
yeah, I remember
go
seeing
ahead,
her
Mickie.
years ago. She was a great advocate for
Yeah.
this disabled community. I'm sorry to hear she passed.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Was,
known her for 30 years, but an amazing
yeah.
advocate. But that was her purpose, right? And that's her
Yeah.
mind. You can keep your mind engaged. I think that's the
Yeah.
most important.
And that's the thing when you do engage your mind and you're, you know, distracted from what you're dealing with day by day. You're not focusing on, oh, I'm laying here in bed, oh, it hurts, or whatever. I'm so tired of laying on my one side and all of that. And if you're, engaged in something, you're not thinking about that at least for an hour or whatever it is. Just like, in your day to day life, when you're busy and you're doing things and you're coming and you're going, you're great. When you go to bed and start to, wind down, ooh, you start feeling all those aches and pains. Oh my God, my butt feels like it's on fire. Oh my God, I have stabbing pains in my hands. I've got,
Yes.
and then of course, I have, before when you're feeling everything at once, you can't relax enough to fall asleep. So it takes a minute, whatever, if you use an ointment, if you use massage, whatever it is, stretching that you need to do to kind of let you relax and loosen up and not think of everything that's hurting at the moment, then you can get some good sleep.
Oh,
Yeah,
and it does. It hits you. I don't know, Mickie, if you at the end of the day, like all of a sudden, I feel like somebody has beaten me with a stick. Like, what
pretty
the
much.
hell did I do
Yeah,
today? Everything aches and hurts. And when I first thing in the morning, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is just like what happened to me last night in bed. This kink, that
yeah,
kink, I don't know.
yeah,
But once you engage and you get those endorphins going, I mean, the body is really, I mean, you make that mind connection.
yeah,
Research shows that if you smile, even if you don't mean it, just smile,
Yeah.
absolutely.
it sends endorphins to your brain because your
Brain,
body
That's
is
true.
absolutely.
autonomic system
Yeah,
says, look, you're happy, endorphins, happy. And that
yeah,
can help reduce pain. So you know, that's that's not toxic positivity. It's just sometimes just smile and it'll
absolutely.
send messages. And your body
Mhm.
produces incredible
Yes.
pain relief, right? Your body is
Yeah,
amazing. And that doesn't mean you don't need the support of an Advil or cream. I just got a new
whatever. Yeah,
Voltron, I don't know, NSAID cream for because my knuckles will sometimes burn when I'm driving. Like, I don't know if it's
yeah,
arthritis, I don't know if it's carpal tunnel, but my hands, I've been pushed in a wheelchair for
Yeah.
41 years now, so my
Yeah.
hands are they get a little older and they'll hurt a little bit
Yeah.
more, but that seems to help. Smells, I
Mhm.
think smell for sleeping is so important. I don't know if anybody uses smells. Tiger Balm is like an amazing, just over the counter balm, but the smell of
Yeah.
it just makes me go,
Oof.
oh, sweet
Yeah.
cinnamon, spicy and comforting. Vicks Vapor Rub.
Yeah.
Vicks just
Soothing.
reminds me of
Yeah.
healing. Whenever I start to feel like I'm getting a cold, I'm like, rub a little Vicks on your chest. I don't know if it
Yeah.
helps. Smell makes me think of healing.
But the scent, no, it does. It's very relaxing. And back to the smile thing, it's like, as you say, even though you're faking it, you're doing it, but you feel certain muscles start to
Yeah.
relax, you know? And rather than, when you're, you know, just have a stern looking face and, and the muscles get all tight, in the neck and all of that. And you just smile and just kind of breaks it up.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean you can't still feel sad or angry or
Sure.
whatever you're feeling. You're just giving it that sort of endorphin boost to
Boost.
then
Yeah.
process those feelings. So I think one of the things that I've always, when people say, "Oh, you'll get over it," right? Oh, you'll get over it. We don't get over anything. I think I've said this
Mm,
before. I'm probably repeating myself to our people out
yeah,
there, but we get through it. And in the process of
absolutely.
getting through it, there is pain and joy and anger. And my daughter was telling me the other day because my dog was ill and I was freaking out,
Hmm.
and she was like, "Sometimes, Mom, it feels like you're just getting through the day." And I said,
Hmm.
"Sometimes I am just getting through the day.
Absolutely.
It's been a couple of years for me. My life has
Yeah.
been turned upside down, and I'm just getting through the day. But in the getting through, there are moments of joy. Like
Yeah.
she is a moment of joy. Interacting with her is a moment of joy. And as I'm getting through the difficult parts of processing the hurt and the pain or whatever's going on, it's the
Hmm.
moments of joy that I hold on to. And my dog
Absolutely.
is a moment of joy for me. I walk,
Hmm.
I meet neighbors, and with him being sick, it was like that was like my cup is too full. I'm overflowing now.
Yeah, that
I
was
am going
it.
to freak out.
The last
Sometimes our
thing.
cup
Yeah.
is so full that we just have to let it spill and have those emotions. I think that,
Absolutely. Yeah.
as opposed to trying to hold them.
Yeah.
Yes, our bodies age so much quicker and our minds, yes, our minds stay
Right.
sharp, Well,
Yeah.
we'll see. Well, they're working on those,
Hmm.
hip replacements. A neighbor of mine just got a knee replacement and says it's amazing. And now they're talking about the hip replacements and that, they're putting us back together with better
One of
parts.
these. Yeah.
I know that Bob Vogel, who writes for New Mobility a lot, he just did some shoulder stuff because that's the other thing we have to be careful of, right? Our shoulders, because
Yeah.
even in, we're just using our shoulders in a way that we use our shoulders and our hands and our arms in ways that the body was not necessarily designed to do it so much.
Exactly. Hmm. Yeah. And that's the thing, the longer you're in the chair, unfortunately, you're using those parts constantly a lot more and than normal able-bodied people are. So then, yeah, you start to injure yourself. It's like, oh, I've developed tendonitis in my bicep. I've got a little bit of arthritis starting in the shoulders, and all of that. And oh, I tend to get hurt a lot easier or whatever. Or you're going about your day doing everything you do, and your mind is somewhere else, and all of a sudden you pour hot water on yourself while you're doing,
Oh,
fixing
drop
your
a curling
morning
iron.
tea and all of that. Or yeah, exactly. And because it just, I think sometimes it just, you get so sick and tired of having to watch for everything and being so diligent that sometimes you just kind of, go through the motions and doing what you need to do. The transfer that you didn't pay attention, and
Oh
that
my God.
left brake wasn't on, when you did it, and you fall because, you
Oh
know,
my God.
I didn't
Yeah.
check this time. I didn't make sure that I was in the right position or whatever it is. And that's when you fall.
Yep.
And, it's constant. As you say, we get through things. We never get over it, though. It's always,
No, we never get over
unfortunately,
it. And
one
yeah.
thing after another because there are so many secondary conditions that we deal with. At this point, not walking is the least of my problems. It's everything else, I've gotten used to
Not
not
walking
walking,
is easy. Yeah, not walking is the easy part. It's all the other stuff. And I think my advice to anybody newly injured out there, or if you've been in the chair for a while, get the adaptive equipment, right? Get the car that you don't have to transfer or, break your chair apart. I
Exactly.
would say to any new injury, I think every new injury should have a power assist system on their chair. If you want to work out and do marathons, you can go to the gym and work out. You can do workout sessions in a regular chair,
Yeah,
but your daily life should not be over stressing your body and depleting your energy. And I feel like daily life, you should have optimal support for that. And if you
absolutely.
want to work out and run marathons, that's awesome, right? But don't make your daily life hard. Don't make,
About exactly.
all I I wish I would have learned that earlier. I mean, they didn't have power assists way back in the day,
Anything
but
like that. Yeah.
back then. But when they first came out, I mean, I will say I used the Yamaha Navi, and I can wheel to work. I go literally 3 to 6 miles a day with my dog, walking my dog in the neighborhood,
Hmm.
with my power assist. Now, I'm not pushing as much as, but I get to go out and I'm in it clears my head. I have met so many neighbors with dogs. I don't know my neighbor's name, but I know their dog's name. Um, but being out, just meeting people makes a difference too. And like, Mickie, do you do any of the video calls with your friends, or you just voice and,
Oh, you mean like FaceTime, things like
yeah,
that? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've done that. I was just going to say that was good advice because, yeah, 40 years later, my
Yeah.
shoulders aren't the same, but maybe if I would have started earlier, but they didn't, like you said, they didn't
Yeah.
have power assist. But I got power assist about 5 years ago or so, and it's really made a big difference.
Yeah.
So
And I
that's
think,
important to know.
since our lives are so hard always, every day, we don't get a break from that, you know? So make what you can make easy. Use it, take advantage of technology, take advantage of the help that they offer you. you know can I get the
yeah,
door for you? Sure. Can I help you up that little hill? Sure.
yes,
Before, you're not, no, I got it. It was always, no, I got it, thank you, thank you. Now anybody offers help, I say yes. It's like, you know what, I'm done. I'm
yeah.
done.
Saying
It
no
took
to
me an
help is
hour
like,
to, yeah.
why? And
Absolutely. Yeah.
in moderation, right? There's some
Yeah.
things that it's easier for me to do, and you think that you're helping me, and you're not.
Yeah.
So if I say
Yeah.
no, listen to me. But
Yeah.
grab the door for me. Oh hell yeah! I don't.
Yeah.
Why do I
Mhm.
need to fight the door and knock myself?
Exactly. Yeah.
You would do it for anybody that was walking with a bag of groceries. You'd grab the door for them. So
Hmm. Yeah.
doors aren't made for people in wheelchairs, like, unless they have the button, and a lot of them don't
Yeah.
have the buttons, and then the buttons don't even work half the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, moderation is important, and just the mental health is important. And I think we're talking about the holidays and health and well-being and connecting with friends.
Hmm.
I think Triumph always has events going on, and
Absolutely.
whether they're virtual or in person, figuring out what's going on in the neighborhood. I will say, get out and talk to your neighbors. Just
Yeah.
go out and talk to
Hmm.
people.
Yeah.
Be friendly. Everybody's on their phones nowadays. I
Yes.
mean, I've met so many people before phones that were just smiling, talking line, and you get to know
Yeah.
each other. Last night, my neighbor, Monica, and her dog Fresh. I do remember her name, but we exchanged phone numbers. Oh, if we do something in the neighborhood, we'll
Hmm.
invite you.
Great.
But
Yeah.
making those connections are so important, and
Absolutely.
I think that's a key factor.
Yeah.
Without
And I
connections,
think
it's easy to
sometimes,
get
yeah,
lost.
we think, well, they could call me too. They could text me too. Well, no, if you value that friendship, you make the first step. You reach out. I mean, everybody gets busy and blah, blah, blah. And, one thing that I like to do, when I do get caught up in stuff and haven't talked to certain people in a while, and, oh, I haven't heard from so and so and blah, blah, blah. So I'll reach out to them. There's nothing wrong with you being the one to reach out. if you want to maintain a connection with that person, especially, they have kids, they work, they have this, they have that, and I've got a little extra time here. So I'm going to reach out to so-and-so. And I'm not going to wait for somebody to call me. And as you
No,
say, same thing. Yeah. In the holidays, I mean, if you've got family and friends, a great support system, and get out and do things, not everybody does.
no.
And especially a lot of us who use wheelchairs, tend to isolate during that time.
Yes.
Some people don't want to deal with Christmas. Don't, it's like, as you say, you don't always have to be happy. Well, you don't always have to be, jolly and festive and merry and all of that. You still got to lead your life. And that's kind of one of the good things. I think if you stick to your routine, do what you normally do, and it's the holidays, but then you kind of you know slip that in between things. You're not going to be doing shopping marathons and doing all these things that you get caught up with in the holidays, or you're not going to go to parties Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and
Oh my
and
God.
then on Monday you're dead. All of that. We kind of tend to think, okay, I can take it. Oh yeah, party, party, let's go. But then on Monday, it's like, oh my God, you can't get up. And so yeah, just keep realistic expectations of how much
Oh,
you can do and still feel good. Still be okay with it. And you don't have to say yes to everything. That's another one. It's like, oh yes, I can do this. Oh, I can help here. I can go there. Um, so you know what your limitations are. So listen to them. And self-care, self-care,
yeah.
self-care is important.
And
And
sometimes saying no to things like that is
absolutely.
great self-care, and you can make
Yeah.
up stuff. Michelle Black Olive says thank you for always checking in on her, on me.
Oh, you're welcome.
So I loved Black Olive. I loved your Halloween makeup that you put on there. I saw on Facebook. It was incredible, the makeup you
I
had.
missed that.
And then uh, I hope I
Hi,
say this
Aidel.
right. Adele says hello. Hello. We're so glad that you're here. I think the holidays, I think anything for anybody that has a disability, there's this pressure to be more, to do more, because we somehow have to make up for being broken, right? Somehow.
Yeah,
So I'm
absolutely.
not different. Like you don't have to
Yeah.
do it all. Like you don't have you don't have to do it all. You can say no. You can try that's probably one of my hardest things ever,
Hmm.
is not trying to be more and do more, but that has more to do with my upbringing than the chair, right? So,
Yeah. I think,
um,
yeah. And I think, as years go by, I mean, I love Christmas. I love the holidays. I love decorating and baking and cooking and doing all of that. Well, a few years back, I realized I couldn't continue on that pace during the holidays. I had to shift things, and I didn't have the help that I usually had to, put things out and everything. And I just felt so depressed that I could no longer continue that pace. So that was a rough holiday season. But then the next year, I thought, I'm going to do what I can do, you know, decorate the sections that I can reach and put my little stuff out and everything. And that's okay. But it was hard. It was hard, and it
yeah,
was hurtful that I could no longer do that. And so, sometimes you have to switch things up. Well, yes, it was a tradition, but I can't continue to make tamales after Christmas because it kills me. And
yeah, no.
so, yeah, so it's okay to not have to do everything and, you know,
And
learn
And don't
here's
suc-
the thing.
new
don't
traditions.
succumb to don't succumb to pressure. If people
Yes,
say, "How come you're not making them this year?" Say, "I
You're
just
right.
I'm not able to anymore. Just
Yeah.
find someone else." But I
Hmm.
like what Ellen said. In fact, you did too, Michelle. I think the key word is connections. Make connections, make new connections, and keep connections, because it's
Yeah,
so important that we're always connected with somebody.
absolutely.
Not
Yeah.
everybody understands what we're going through, but a lot of people at least have empathy.
Yeah. And the thing is, you don't know what your friends are going through too. They might be dealing with issues themselves, personal issues, medical issues, whatever issues at work, things that they as when you're not well and you don't want to talk to people, maybe they're going through something too, and they just kind of want to sit through it alone and just kind of work that out and everything. And just to go back to, yeah, all the triumph parties, you're definitely welcome to attend any of those. But as I tell people, if you know of someone that maybe doesn't have family support or whatever, call them, invite them for something, or let's go see a movie, let's go have coffee, let's do something. And you don't know how valuable that single message to someone might be, if they're sitting there alone and they're just kind of, down and out and all of that. And
And
unfortunately, yeah, there seems to be a very high level of suicide during the holidays.
yes, there
Yeah,
is.
there
I mean,
is.
If
it's
there's anyone that
no,
you know that's having a rough time, keep in touch. And I know, they tell those people, if you feel like you're, thinking seriously, call the hotlines and all of that. But I get that sometimes it's hard to reach out when you're in that bottom, that dark hole and all of that. So if you know someone struggling, please reach out to them.
yeah,
Yeah,
reach in. We've got to reach into others. And even if they say no, the fact that somebody reached out makes
absolutely.
the difference. Like they don't have to go to the movies with you. They don't have to come over. But just knowing that they care is important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Knox says, who's going to make the holiday food, Michelle?
Order out,
Bruce.
order in.
Tamales. I think it's shifting things like this year because my life is quite different. My ex cheated on me for 17 months and then moved out with his mistress without a conversation and remarried her secretly. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that was what I got to find out this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, not happy. But I always did Thanksgiving. Like I always had a big Thanksgiving thing. And
Yeah.
last year I did it just to try to be normal. And this year I'm like, I'm not. Why? I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
It's like that was that world, and this is a
Yeah.
different world. And
Yeah.
you know
You're in
what?
a different,
I can change it. I don't have to do what like we just because
absolutely.
we did it before or we did it this way, we don't have to do the same. There was a story about a woman who always her daughter was cutting the turkey in half to cook Thanksgiving dinner. And she goes, oh, somebody asked her like, why do you always cut the turkey in half and for Thanksgiving dinner? So that's how my mom did it. And she goes,
Yeah.
well, why did your mom do it that way? And she's like, I don't know, but that's just the tradition. That's the way we do it. And then she finally asked her mom, why do you cut the turkey in half? She goes, because our oven wasn't big enough to fit a whole
The
turkey,
whole
so I had to
turkey.
cut it in
Yeah.
half. Like it has nothing.
Yeah.
It's outdated. Like this tradition no longer holds value or
Hmm.
purpose. Why
Yes.
are we doing it just because it's the way that it was done? We
It was
can
done.
change it
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
make it our own. Or as we age and grow, like you said, Michelle, what can I do and how can I create this for myself the way that I
Yeah.
want it, not
Enjoy it.
simply because what's expected. Like I think Mickie,
Yeah.
you said that, like what is expected of you or
Hmm.
what does society expect or how are you supposed to do it? Do it however makes you brings you joy, right? That brings you
Absolutely.
joy. Whatever brings you joy. And that can be doing it any way, right? And if you can bring joy
Yeah.
to others in the way that you do it, include them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if it was more of a hassle to put up or do whatever it was, that's no longer bringing you joy. So stop doing that. Find
Yes,
something you can do.
right. Because there are always new things. There's so many new interesting things out there that you can try. And you know what? And if it doesn't work, if it totally sucks, you can go back the old way next time. Right?
Absolutely.
There's no rule that once you change it, you can't go back. That's not how it works. You can try stuff and like,
Yeah.
well, that wasn't what I thought it would be. Maybe next year I
Yeah.
want to do a big Thanksgiving again.
Hmm.
I don't know. But this year I just want to do something different. And I'll just
Absolutely.
like told everybody, not doing it this year. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, traditions can change, right?
Hmm.
Traditions can change. We evolve. Why do we feel like
Have to
again, why
stay
are we
there.
cutting the turkey in half? Just because
Yeah.
somebody else, that's the way we were taught to do it. Like, okay, but there
Yeah.
was a reason back then for that. That reason doesn't exist anymore.
Anymore.
So,
Absolutely. Just a little PSA to everyone. Okay. Yeah. It's getting colder. So we're into the hot drinks and all the blankets, maybe the space heater, maybe the electric blanket, which they warn for people with paralysis not to use. But there is a way that you can use it. Put it on top of everything. Stick it in your bed before you. I'll take a heating pad and I'll stick it between my sheets before I get into bed. So by the time I finish washing up for bed, it's nice and warm. So then I just slip right in. Uh, don't get too close to those space heaters, or if you've got a wall heater or a bottom heater. Um, don't pour anything hot over yourself. Set your cup to the side and pour into it, or have somebody carry it for you instead of putting it between your legs, which a lot of people do, because burns are nasty. Burns,
ah,
uh, they're scary, they're
burns are
nasty.
nasty. Burns are definitely
Absolutely.
nasty.
And
I think
they,
my
yeah,
internet's glitching, but
yeah,
yeah, I have the nice space heater scar.
great. Yeah,
So I do a hot pad, but I do it where I can feel it. So only on my face,
absolutely.
which I
Yeah.
put around my ears, and then I know if it's getting too hot. But I don't have is my hand rising? So I don't have normal sensation under here. Like
Yeah.
I have it here, but not under here
Hmm.
because our bodies are all kinky. So I have a huge from sitting like this with the space heater blowing on my face. I could feel on my face. Didn't know
Not
that it
on
was
the
burning
arm.
crap out of my arm. So
Exactly.
that is
Yeah.
great advice. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had a huge.
And
I
if,
have a huge
yeah.
scar there still from the
And
space
if
surgery, and
you're
I didn't even know
wearing,
until the next day, right? Until I'm looking, I'm like, I shaved my
exactly.
arms, going, what the hell? Did I cut
And
myself?
then you're
And I'm like, oh
freaking
my god,
out.
it's a
Yeah.
burn.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
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 if
the
you
hot
cover
cup of
your
coffee.
feet, yeah,
Yep,
that's happened.
you have
Hmm.
to be
Or
mindful
your
of
cup
like,
cracks and when you're pouring into it. I mean,
yeah,
any kind of, yeah, thing. And if you're baking or cooking, yeah, be extra aware of that. And
you
if you
have to be
cover
so
your
careful.
feet or have fuzzy slippers and you get too close to that space heater, you need to watch
Oh
out for
no,
anything
yeah,
hanging down your chair.
yeah.
Absolutely. Because,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, I am the probably the burn queen. I've been burned by a space heater, a hot pack, right, hot. Yeah, yeah. Just because again you're busy, and again I don't know if anybody else. If you get cold, like there's quad cold, which is
yeah,
like it's bone cold. Like you can't warm up.
exactly. No.
And that's when we're in the most danger because we're just trying to like tell
Mhm.
our brain. It takes so long for our brain to understand that it's warm, even if the body's warm, the brain doesn't recognize it.
It's
And you're just,
not.
it's what I call quad cold, and it's horrible.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah.
I like that. I don't slip into nothing. I plop. I either plop or I slide right over because it's
Slay
the
right
exact
over.
same
Yeah,
height.
exactly. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, and stay hydrated because coffee is not hydration, alcohol is
Nope.
not hydration, cocoa is
Nope.
not hydration. You got to have the water, water, water. Now, sparkling
Yeah.
water works just as good as regular water. I just saw research on that it works really good just as regular water. Tea is good. White tea has low caffeine, so but drinking tea does not count as a diuretic. I just read some research on that as
Yeah.
well. My daughter's
Hmm.
a huge tea drinker.
Yeah.
But herbal teas, of course, is just like drinking water. So
Yeah. It just,
I am the worst at drinking water. So
yeah.
hot
Yeah.
water. You
Those
can
hot drinks.
order. I always
Sorry.
order hot water when it's cold, and I go to a restaurant. I'm like, can I have a glass of hot water? They're like,
You know
tea?
what? With
I just
lemon,
want hot water.
I learned that from Jeanette. Hot water with lemon. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. So I tried it and I'm like, that's great when I need to warm up, and it's cold. So, yeah. So save those hot drinks for when you're really cold and you need to warm up from the inside out. And yeah, definitely. And I tend to get very thirsty in the winter, I think, because of heaters and all of that. I think, the
Yeah,
air is more.
the heat and the wind
So,
and the thing.
mm-hmm.
Black Olive says plopping is the new sexy. It's the new
Oh,
sexy. I am a sex goddess because I plop.
you sure are,
The
honey.
plop is the best. The plop is the plop and the slide. I came. And that's the other thing. If you are traveling to other people's houses and stuff, you have to be again mindful of the body because they're toilets are not the same if you're transferring, or
Yeah.
just the movements that you end up doing in
Mm-hmm.
different transfer situations can put a
Yes.
different strain on your body. Yeah, it's just, it is exhausting though. I mean, Mickie, it is exhausting, right? Just the
It is.
constant being aware, and then when something goes wrong, the extra time it takes for
Mm-hmm.
us to heal, to get back to where we were. I mean, Leon pointed out, like, I lost so much muscle, and then for us to build it back is twice as long, and it is exhausting. But using the supports that are around you, I think, are so important.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, I think I've said this before. Independence isn't doing it alone; it's
Mm-hmm.
getting the job done. So, who
Yeah.
do you need to help you get the job done, right? And there's nobody that does it all by themselves, right?
Yeah.
There's
No.
nobody out there that's Jeff Bezos
Absolutely.
is not running Amazon by himself. He's
No.
got millions of people working for him, and I mean, like, in every aspect, they're not doing it themselves.
No, not at all.
It's that you, using your brain, Mickie is able to
Mm-hmm.
dictate what you're doing, even if your body isn't doing it. Like, you've got
Yeah.
people that the nurse come in to help you. Okay, I need the nurse. I need the physical therapy. I need this. I need that. So if you're always the one that has the agency, that's taking the agency to dictate your
Mm-hmm.
life, then you are the one that
Absolutely.
is being independent. You are just having
Absolutely.
other people do the work to help you be independent. And I
Exactly.
think that we forget that sort of a Western culture idea that pull you up by your own bootstraps and you got to be good.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just bullshit. It's
Yeah.
bullshit
It
that
really
keeps
is.
people from getting the support they need.
Yeah. Because even if, say, you can't even move your arms and physically do anything, you still have the mental capacity to instruct people, to help you do things, to do things for you, to manage your care. That's independence in itself, where
Yes,
you're the one who's taking
absolutely.
charge and you're telling people how things need to be done and what you need. And yeah, definitely.
And I think
So,
her name is Lauren. And my God, she's a beautiful quadriplegic, and she's from New York. I did a story on her for New Mobility, but she was a chef, and she couldn't but she could instruct people how to cook. It was
exactly.
still her doing it. She was just instructing them. And then
Yeah.
Kirk Kilgore, I don't know if y'all knew Kirk Kilgore, who was
Yes. I was
one
just going to
of the,
mention him.
yeah,
Yeah.
he is Kirk Kilgore, was like my mentor and my hero. And he was golden god, 6 foot, paralyzed from the neck down, hands strapped into his motorized chair.
Hmm.
But he helped design the mouth stick, and he coached volleyball, and he was a commentator for the Olympics in volleyball. And
Yeah.
people would look at him saying, "You're completely dependent on He was the most independent man I knew. He knew exactly how to say,
Exactly.
"I
Yeah.
need you to do this. I need you to do that." If you were having dinner with him, he'd be like, "Bite," and then he'd have the conversation. He'd be like, "Bite,
Yeah.
sip," and he was able to have so much agency with no shame, with no apology, with and it wasn't work for the other people because he was
Yeah.
so straightforward. I think
Yeah.
sometimes when we're not straightforward about what we need, we make it harder
It's
for
hard.
people to help us, as opposed to, "I
Absolutely. Yeah.
need you to do this. I need you to do this for me." And most people be like, "Oh, great." If you ask him nicely, I mean, he wasn't ever
Yeah.
rude about it. He was just
Yeah.
direct.
No,
I think direct
exactly.
and kind, and he was so independent. That's awesome. I mean, Leon's talking about, well, right now with electronics and the assistive devices out there, we can be at a point
Absolutely.
where we can be by ourselves without having to worry, as long as we're not
Yeah.
doing major transfers or getting
Mhm.
hot crap out of the microwave. But,
Yeah.
those are just things you should have somebody there during major transfers, even if you do it by
Yeah.
yourself, because yeah, there's those occasions you do it and you forgot the brake was not quite on right, or you went a little too
Yes.
fast. You're slipping and you're hanging there.
Exactly.
That is
Yeah.
the tough thing. I was coming out of a restaurant, and I hit the front of coming down in that little lip there, and so I
Ugh,
tipped
yeah.
forward. But luckily, I caught myself with my hands. Right, I'm
Yeah.
holding myself up with my chair tipped, and I literally felt like I was there for. It's in the front of a restaurant. There are people. Finally,
I know.
somebody came over and goes, "Do you need some help?" I'm like, "Oh, hell yes," because if I let go, I'm gonna fall over. Can you
I'm
just
gonna.
grab my shoulders and throw me back in? Sometimes people don't know that you need help, and so
Help.
I'm like, "Excuse me,"
Yeah.
but
Hello.
asking is so important. There's
Yes.
nothing wrong with saying, hey, can you help me with this? Hey, most people are more than happy to do it.
Absolutely.
I think there's a goodness in most people. What do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely believe that. And
Yes,
that's the thing.
Alexa and
And
Siri are the best friends. Voice assistants, I don't know how
there
I
you
survive
go. Yeah.
without them. Um,
Yeah.
I
And
wouldn't be
that's the
here
thing.
today.
If there's something that you want to do and you are afraid to ask for help, you're missing out. You're
Yeah,
missing out because 9 out of 10 times there's someone who's willing to help you out.
there.
So,
Yeah,
and I was going to say, going back when you have those little accidents because you're not paying attention, and then you're so damn angry at yourself and you're kicking yourself and you're just, so it doesn't help the situation. It doesn't make you feel any better. So ask
no,
for the help, you know,
yeah, and don't
be
beat
safe.
yourself up. And don't beat yourself up when I mean, everybody moves a little too fast. Everybody makes mistakes. Just
Hmm.
remind yourself that next time, before you try that transfer, maybe double check the brakes or make sure that somebody is there to help with it.
Hmm.
Because,
Yeah,
um, you got to be grace. You got to give yourself some grace. Treat yourself with grace.
absolutely.
And,
Yeah.
we're doing the best that we can. I think that
Hmm.
I agree, Leon. Most people are generally good at heart. And
Yeah,
if they say no, don't take it personal. Like, don't personalize it. We don't, like Michelle said, we don't know what's going on in their world if they can't help.
exactly. Yeah.
We have
Hmm.
to honor that they're saying no because they have boundaries, and that's not a reflection on us. That
Yeah,
they're,
absolutely.
you know, it's not personal that they're not able to
Whatever
help.
reason they have is, yeah, is their
Yeah.
thing. Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and,
That's,
and that's important. Like, people can say no, right? It's important to
yes.
let people say no. My daughter will say no to me a lot. Like, can you do this for me? No. And I'd be like,
Mhm. Yeah,
I'm your
you're like,
mother.
what do
Sure.
you mean no?
No. But she goes,
You're
no,
my
I can't.
daughter.
I have class and I have this. And it's like, oh, that's okay. It's okay to say no. And then
Yeah.
I can ask somebody else, can so and so do it for me? It's like, it's okay. Just because one
Yeah.
person said no because
Absolutely.
they have whatever's going on in their life doesn't mean that there isn't somebody there to support you, right? There is people to support
Yes.
you.
And
I
one
think that
thing, if
that's
you
important.
are more caring and nicer to your friends than you are to yourself, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's
Yes.
definitely wrong, you know?
Yes.
Exactly. I don't think a lot of us at times would dare tell our friends what we tell ourselves, what's in our mind, how we
Oh,
feel,
yeah.
what we think, you know? We just keep it inside. But definitely self-care. Self-care is everything.
Self-care.
And
I know we have gratitude journals where you're grateful for things. I read about
yeah,
this one where at the end of the day, you write down everything you did right.
yeah.
Right? And it feels
Mhm.
self-congratulatory, but again, it's that I did do a lot of, because our brains are sort of focused on what is
Mhm.
wrong, what is different, what is
Yeah.
not okay, because that makes it unsafe. So we have to be aware of danger, danger, danger. But we often don't remember like what we did right. Like, we got up,
Exactly.
we had,
Mhm.
we made it through the day. We did this, even if it's small things. Reminding ourselves that getting up or getting engaged if you can't get up, because that,
Yeah.
engaging with the world in one way or
Very
another,
true. Yeah.
um, is doing something, and it is
Yeah.
positive. And I think it's sometimes hard for us to acknowledge what we do that is living, right? Acknowledge
Yes.
ourselves for, engaging and living.
Absolutely.
It's important. I think that that's really important.
Yes.
It's easy to look at the negatives. It's easy to pick those out because that's where our
Yeah.
brain wants to go. But
Absolutely.
really,
So don't
let's
let
go.
that one little thing in your day ruin the entire day. Think of
Yep.
all that went right before this thing happened, you know?
Yes.
All right, guys, we could keep going on and on. I want to thank you guys for joining us today. Tell your friends, watch our videos. And yeah, thank you for your support. We got to wind down. We kind of got a little carried away today, but that's
That's
okay.
good.
We want to thank our sponsors, mobility professionals and urology professionals, for their support. Without them, this show would not be possible. And thank you guys for your support. Without
Yes,
you, we
and
have no
thank you.
show.
Without you, this show it would still be fun because these are amazing women I get to work with.
Yeah.
So it'd still be fun, but it
And
wouldn't be the same. We really appreciate everybody out there. Black Olive, we're always glad you're here, and Leon and Knock. Am I saying it right, Knock? So glad that you're here, and
no, no, no.
there are other
Luis.
people out
Luis,
there.
Luis.
I know, but he has
Louise.
knock, like Louise
I know.
knock.
Well,
Yes, like the knock is in the parentheses. So
That's
I feel like if
okay.
that's the preferred, like, I don't know, Louise is what is preferred, Louise knock.
Right.
I was
Yes.
trying to honor the parentheses.
Yes. All right. And
Love you, Julienne.
yeah,
Thank you.
Adele,
Everybody
I
stay
think,
safe, and we'll see you next month on the first of the month.
take care, guys.
First Thursday in
Happy
December.
Thanksgiving. Happy
bye-bye.
Friendsgiving. Reach out to someone. All right, guys. Take
Okay.
care.
Bye-bye.